Let's look at this gang tattoo here. 666 on the forehead of an illegal alien, Antonio Israel Lazo Quintanilla. I simply do not want an illegal alien with 666 tattooed on his forehead in my country, and I don't think that most Americans would disagree with me there.
Is it really that hard for you right now? Is there anything that's getting in your way from just lawlessly going into our communities and detaining American citizens, terrorizing women as masked bandits who are not identified, run through the streets, chase people through fields, go into car washes, go to Home Depot parking lots? Like, are you having a difficult time just ripping people away from their families?
The House Judiciary Committee hearing began like any other until Representative Brandon Gill of Texas stepped forward with a bill that immediately shifted the tone of the entire room. It was called the Expedited Removal of Criminal Aliens Act, a straightforward attempt, Gill argued, to close dangerous public safety gaps that allow violent offenders and gang members to remain in the United States long after conviction. Gill described the problem bluntly. Federal officers shouldn't have to wait until another American is hurt before they can remove individuals with known violent histories. He cited cases, arrests, repeat offenders, and the gaps in current policy that put communities at risk. His tone was measured, specific, and grounded in the bill's exact language, clear definitions of criminal gang activity, alignment with federal statutes, and due process protections already built into the law. As Gill finished, the room remained calm. But that calm didn't last. The moment Representative Eric Swalwell of California took the microphone, everything changed. His tone sharpened instantly. His frustration was obvious, and instead of responding to Gill's points, Swalwell launched into a barrage of partisan theatrics. He accused enforcement agencies of lawlessly entering communities. He delivered dramatic warnings about political retaliation. He invoked emotional anecdotes that had nothing to do with the bill being discussed. What he didn't do was challenge Gill's examples. What he didn't do was address the statutory language. And what he didn't do was talk about the violent offenders the bill actually targets. While Gill focused on public safety, Swalwell shifted to spectacle. Gill talked about dangerous criminals. Swalwell talked about optics. Gill focused on legal standards. Swalwell focused on political attacks. At one point, Swalwell described ICE officers as terrorizing communities, painting a broad picture that ignored the core reality Gill had laid out. This bill targets violent offenders, not families, not neighbors, not law-abiding immigrants.
Because of Democrat policies, Tren de Aragua has an established presence from coast to coast in our country. Nearly every single day, we hear stories about the terror wrought by these heinous criminals. In August, ICE arrested a Tren de Aragua member with an active warrant in Bogota, where he was sentenced to 7 years for trafficking and possessing illegal firearms. He had been caught and released at the border during the Biden-Harris administration. In May, ICE arrested multiple Tren de Aragua members who were involved in a mass shooting at a Chicago house party last December. And these arrests are not limited to Tren de Aragua members. Earlier this year, ICE arrested a gang member from El Salvador with U.S. convictions for sexual indecency with a child, failure to register as a sex offender, illegal reentry, and illegal entry. ICE also arrested an MS-13 gang member with a homicide conviction and a Sureños 13 gang member with 6 convictions for drug possession, 3 convictions for resisting arrest, 2 convictions for domestic violence, and 2 convictions for assault. These are the crimes that are the obvious result of Democrats' open border policies, so today it's no surprise that they'd rather attempt to poke holes in a clear definition rather than own up to their past mistake. The definition of criminal gang here is straightforward. It clearly delineates the requirements to be considered a gang, and it closely tracks another gang definition already in statute, the definition of a criminal street gang in 18 U.S. Code 521. Federal immigration officials shouldn't have to wait for an illegal alien gang member to harm, kill, rape, or terrorize an American citizen before expediting the removal of that dangerous foreign national. This is a common sense provision that creates safer streets for every American and closes a gaping loophole in current law. But if we want to talk about how these determinations are often being made, we hear rhetoric about gang tattoos. Let's look at this gang tattoo here. 666 on the forehead of an illegal alien, Antonio Israel Lazo Quintanilla. I simply do not want an illegal alien with 666 tattooed on his forehead in my country, and I don't think that most Americans would disagree with me there. As we've talked about earlier, this law does comport with due process. There are opportunities for illegal aliens to appeal decisions, deportation decisions, but if Democrats would like to explain why this illegal alien with 666 tattooed on his forehead should be given free rein in the interior of our country, they are welcome to. And with that, Mr. Chair, I yield back.
One day we'll reconcile, Mr. Chairman, the richness of an Ivy League investment banker, Nepo congressman telling us that we need to get rid of the people who pick our food, wash our cars, build our homes, enrich our communities. We'll get to that. But today, this legislation is about making it easier for ICE to remove more of our friends and neighbors. And I guess the question I have is it really that hard for you right now? Is there anything that's getting in your way from just lawlessly going into our communities and detaining American citizens, terrorizing women as masked bandits who are not identified, run through the streets, chase people through fields, go into car washes, go to Home Depot parking lots? Like, are you having a difficult time just ripping people away from their families, and you think you need more abilities to do it? Also, quite interesting that you're asking for more legal authorities because you don't even follow the laws that are on the books right now. So what are we doing here, I guess, is my first question. But the American people are telling you, get the hell out of our homes, our streets, and our lives. American people were promised that the most violent individuals would be removed. And instead, we've been given this. You even deported a child, U.S. citizen, fighting cancer. You deported Miguel Lopez, my constituent, who's been in the country for almost 30 years, worked at a local winery, sent his kids to the high school in my hometown. And he showed up to his immigration proceeding following the law, and he was picked up by ICE and sent to Mexico. And every Sunday night, his wife Rosa and their family look at an empty chair where Miguel used to sit for 30 years with his family. What did we get out of that? Who's better off because Miguel, who was following the law, is not in our community? But earlier this month, the American people from Virginia to New Jersey to Pennsylvania, all the way out to California, sent a message that a reckoning is on its way, that accountability is coming. And this lawlessness that's gone unchecked, a lot's going to change. The masks are going to come off. Officers will identify themselves. And Kristi Noem and Tom Homan, you should familiarize yourself with the four corners of this room. Kristi Noem and Tom Homan, get to know that witness chair. You're going to be parked in it for a long time. You're going to have a lot of questions under oath with the subpoena power. And I hope what you're doing is clean.
Instead of acknowledging that distinction, Swalwell attacked motives. He attacked agencies. He even predicted investigations into people who weren't present. The hearing began to feel less like policymaking and more like a campaign speech pointed directly at the cameras. Meanwhile, Gill's poor question still hung in the air, unanswered. Why should immigration officials be forced to wait until a violent offender harms someone again before they can remove them? Swalwell didn't touch it, not once. Before moving forward, make sure to subscribe to The Left-Wing Critic. This channel breaks down the moments Washington wants to gloss over, with direct analysis and coverage you won't get anywhere else. Back inside the committee room, the contrast was sharper than ever. Gill stayed on. Criminal convictions, federal definitions, due process standards, concrete public safety risks. Swalwell leaned on accusations, emotional appeals, sweeping claims against enforcement, fear-based rhetoric, political warnings. Gill argued substance. Swalwell argued spectacle. By the time the gavel dropped and the hearing recessed, the takeaway was unmistakable. One representative had come prepared to legislate. The other had come to perform. Gill's expedited removal of Criminal Aliens Act aimed to close a real, documented public safety gap. Swalwell responded with anger, accusations, and theatrics designed for headlines rather than solutions. The divide was impossible to miss. The contrast was undeniable. And this debate is only just beginning. Stay tuned. More hearings are coming. More clashes are inevitable. And the left-wing critic will break down every moment Washington hopes you won't see.
Thanks for watching The Left-Wing Critic, where politics meets passion and we hold power to account. If you're tired of corporate spin and left-wing noise, hit the subscribe button, like the video, and join the movement. The left doesn't stay silent, and neither do we.